Hello, and thank you for watching the Sports Detective Show on YouTube. And boy, oh boy, guys, today do we have some NBA drama. There are some rumors circling that the Los Angeles Lakers locker room is turning on Darvin Ham. Here's a tweet by Shams Charania, who broke this story. I believe it was Wednesday, like after the Lakers lost to the Heat. Uh, Here it is on the screen. Hopefully you see it now. There's currently a growing disconnect. Oh my god, I can't speak. There's currently a growing disconnect between Darvin Ham and the Lakers locker room, stemming from disjointedness around the rotation and adjustments. Lakers are losers of 3 in a row, 9 of 12, and now under 500. Now, I will say this: that I'm recording this Friday. They are playing the Grizzlies tonight, so there's a chance that they could win that game. Um, but the reason that this story is very fascinating here is because, well, all right, so there's clearly issues here. You can see it on the court. Darvin Ham has been messing around with the starting lineup all year, trying to, you could either say he's making bad decisions with the starting lineup. You could say he's not being patient enough with some of these decisions. Like he moves Reeves to the bench. There's a time where he moved D'Angelo Russell to the bench. He's kind of moving. Basically, the only two guys that are pretty consistently starting are like LeBron and Davis. And what's very interesting here is like, what's the solution here? Are we going to have a thing here where Darvin Ham really puts down his foot, kind of gets everyone together, they rally the troops, and he kind of like is able to fix a lot of this stuff? Remember, he is a young head coach. He's only been a head coach for a year and a half. I do think sometimes we need to allow for head coaches to improve and grow. But the thing is here, this is LeBron James's team, and it's results now. It's not, well, we'll build for the future, build for 3 years from now, maybe. No, no, no. It's win right now, compete for a championship right now. And if Darvin Ham is losing the locker room, the reason that this story is huge is he could get fired from this. And I don't know when he get fired. I don't know if there has to be some sort of terrible loss. I don't know if somebody has to, really get upset, if Darvin Ham has to say something, if the players just have to be totally out on it, like if they have to hit some sort of rock bottom for this to happen, if they haven't already. Um, but it looks like that. The interesting thing about that, though, with Ham, if they were to fire Ham, they don't necessarily have a coach like waiting and sitting on the bench. There isn't necessarily that clear number two option, at least from what I can see. So that's why, you also saw rumors the other day where it's like, well, if Darvin Ham gets fired, it could be Mark Jackson that comes in to replace him. It could be Doc Rivers. I also think a coach that was an assistant coach earlier this year has been a head coach for nearly a decade in the NBA. Terry Stotts, I think you should maybe try and throw his name in there. I think he could be a very good head coach again in the NBA. And you're kind of thinking about this stuff here too, because it's like, all right, well, what's the rush in doing this? It's like, well, the rush is LeBron James, because as people have been pointing out online, LeBron James is a free agent at the end of this season. LeBron James hasn't won a title since 2020. So that's like what, 3 or 4 years? And he does not have that many years left in the NBA. His son could potentially enter the draft next year, go to a different, or, go to a certain team in the NBA. Who knows where he would go? Who knows if LeBron would follow him? So the Lakers are kind of in an interesting situation here where it's like, okay, we're going to have to make a move. Do you make a move with Darvin Ham, or do you make a move with this roster? You kind of thought when D'Angelo Russell and Rui Hachimura signed their extensions in the offseason that, like, all right, they both got well, I guess Rui did. Russell kind of got a pay decrease, but it was like, all right, well, the way that their contracts are structured, there's a good chance that these guys might be in a trade, and maybe you can package those guys together. Now, who is the guy that the Lakers could potentially be targeting if they're going to package two guys together and trade for somebody? That could be a Zach LaVine. That could be a Kyrie Irving. That could be a DeJounte Murray. The Lakers have a lot of options here. But then, too, the other interesting kind of wrinkle of that here, too, is if you're the Lakers, do you want to give Darvin Ham another chance? And you want to see if you can make that trade, let's say in the next week, trade for Zach LaVine within the next 7 days, and then give Darvin Ham maybe 3 or 4 weeks to see if, like, kind of shuffling off the roster a little bit, maybe getting in a few different pieces that fit better, maybe doing that can kind of, invigorate a little bit of life into this roster. Maybe Darvin Ham can get the rotations a little bit more back on track there. Or do you want to just fire Darvin Ham now and then wait for the deadline after you find the coach, whether you go out and find somebody or you hire someone on the bench? Do you, fire him in the next week and then you make all of your deadline moves in like a month or so? So a very, very interesting story here with the Lakers. What I think they should do, it's hard for me to say that they should fire him, but I think I'm finally on the side here with the Lakers where I feel like I've talked myself into Zach LaVine. I don't know why. I feel like him being a third fiddle next to Davis and LeBron, I think his offensive possessions will be a little better. Maybe if he's not, being the number one creator and scorer on offense like he is in Chicago, maybe that defense would step up a little bit. The scary thing though, with Zach LaVine though, is he just signed a huge freaking contract, and he's had some injury problems to his knees in the past. So there's a lot of liability. There's a lot of more ways that could go wrong if you trade for Zach LaVine than maybe things that could go right. And do you trade for Zach LaVine and you give up all of your assets if LeBron James just decides to leave at the end of the summer? Because another interesting part here too is that the LeBron was kind of in this situation when he was leaving Cleveland. If you remember correctly, Kyrie Irving gets traded, and then the Lakers, or excuse me, not the Lakers, but the Cavaliers make this big move at the deadline, basically flip their entire roster, kind of similar to what the Lakers did last year. But the thing was here too, when the Cavaliers did that Kyrie Irving trade, they got this pick that was a Brooklyn Nets pick, and that was supposed to be like kind of the prized possession of that trade. And like, when the trade happened, I was like, hey, crap, this could be a top 5 pick. It ended up being the 8th pick. It ended up being Colin Sexton. But the thought process then there was with the Cavaliers, LeBron wanted them to trade that pick for Kemba Walker, which Kemba Walker was very much available at the time. Now, the Cavaliers didn't do that because they're like, well, we're not going to give up our best asset if we're pretty sure you're going to leave at the end of the summer. So they didn't do it. They held pat, and LeBron left, and they drafted Colin Sexton. In hindsight, trading that pick probably, I don't know, that probably doesn't swing their title hopes because they probably weren't beating the Warriors, but it also probably didn't massively destroy the Cavaliers' future because they made the playoffs last year. They have some young talent on their team this year. The thing is, too, with the Lakers, they've already given up a bunch of their assets. They gave up a bunch of stuff for Anthony Davis. They gave up stuff for Russell Westbrook. Then they had to give up more stuff to get rid of Russell Westbrook. They gave up draft picks to get Rui Hachimura on their team. They don't have much stuff to work with. They have Jalen Hood-Schifino. They have Max Christie, both kind of young guys that I like. And then I think they have like one first that they can trade. So it's going to be packaging some contracts if they want to upgrade a position. What I would try and do if I were them is I would probably try and package to get like that Zach LaVine type of player. I don't know if you could get Kyrie Irving. I think he's actually doing like, it seems like him and Dallas have a pretty good working relationship right now. DeJounte Murray maybe, but he's kind of sneakily, he's not the player he was in San Antonio, but maybe that's just because him and Trae Young just don't, their basketball chemistry is just terrible. So maybe going into a new environment would help him. But I would try and trade for a guy on that level. And then if you try and hold on to those assets as much as possible, and then maybe flip, I don't know if you keep a pick in that trade. I don't know if you can, maybe you have Max Christie or Hood-Schifino. Maybe you combine them both, and they're kind of like young assets that you can sell to somebody. Because I think the Lakers need some size. I do think like I think they need more quality size. I think they need another forward, and I think they need perimeter defense. So if they could try and trade for some of those things, and maybe they won't have to fire Darvin Ham, but hey man, just keep your eyes open because the Lakers are going to be making moves because of this story right here. If this thing keeps going down a downhill slide for the Lakers, Darvin Ham might get fired, within the next 2 weeks. So that's going to do it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. My name is James Williams. If I didn't say that at the beginning, I've been doing this podcast now for over 4 years. We have just started putting our clips like this on YouTube over the past month or so. So I've been doing videos where I talk about college basketball, college football, NBA, obviously, NFL, and I've done over 50 plus interviews. So if you like this content here, please hit that subscribe button. If you like this video, please hit that like button. I'd really appreciate the support, and thank you very much. We'll talk to you next time.